Now, the one 16-year-old rapper, Tay-K, known for his viral breakout song, The Race, is currently serving a 55-year prison sentence for 2 counts of aggravated robbery in July of 2016 over the death of Ethan Walker, a Texas man who was set up by some of the girls who were friends with Tay-K. Tay-K has made his cry for forgiveness on social media with the hopes of a second chance at an adulthood. This all started in 2016 when Tay-K was accused of participation in a home invasion robbery. Well, although he wasn't a trigger man and didn't kill anyone, he still got a hefty sentence based off him being a part of the robbery and being guilty by association. This robbery had 6 to 7 people involved, with 3 women who were actually with the victims the entire day and backdoored them and set them up, which led to the robbery gone wrong that turned to a murder. With multiple women involved, there was bound to be snitching, because for some people, they just can't justify facing the consequences for another person's actions, although their involvement was minimal. And Tay-K said, "I really just need one chance at adulthood. I bet if I was a little white kid, they wouldn't have gave me 55 years for a crime I was alleged to play the most insignificant role in when I was 16. They would have rightfully argued that my mind wasn't fully developed and gave me rehabilitation and a second first chance at adulthood." Now, it's hard to agree with a criminal, especially knowing he had participation in a crime that led to the demise of others, but he's not wrong. Race is a major factor in everything, especially in America. Tay-K was 16 when the incident happened, and prior to that, he was accomplices to drive-by murders in an actual situation where his friend Santana was drunk while leaving a New Year's party in Texas and got into an argument with someone in another car and shot and killed the driver. So it's safe to say, Tay-K was always around gangbangers and violence, and it's simply all he knew. Does Tay-K deserve a second chance at adulthood? Yes, but should it be within the next 20 years? No. He still needs to sit down and fully mature, because before he was just a child criminal doing reckless actions and behaviors, and now he's just being an adult criminal doing the same things. His mindset needs to change in order for that to happen. He needs to sit down and reanalyze what he wants to do with his life when he leaves prison and how he can actually be a human person in society. Your mindset and environment are everything. Tay-K was arrested at 16 and indicted when he was 19, and the state of Texas purposefully prolonged the whole process so that they could try him as an adult, and it worked. And they gave him 55 years. His right-hand man got 30 years. And it's crazy to see that this is just an ugly story of the troubled youth in the black community. What we also have to realize, by Tay-K going on the run, cutting off his ankle monitor, and simply filming a music video in front of his wanted poster, like Pablo Escobar in front of the White House, they were going to show zero sympathy towards him. The judicial system is 10 times harder on people of color, particularly black. We even have some similarities in the YNW Melly trial going on in Florida. Melly's accused of killing his 2 best friends, YNW Juvie and YNW Sack Chaser, in October 2018 while leaving recording studios in Florida and staging a drive-by murder to cover it up on the freeway. Now, this case, simply awful. There is no gun or witnesses, and it's simply a case going based off motive and a narrative that YNW Melly killed his friend to gain $200,000. The state of Florida is doing everything in their power to make an example out of him. The prosecutors want to give him the death penalty, and they didn't file the motion in time. While the trial was taking a break for jury selection, they refiled the motion, and as of now, January 13th, YNW Melly's facing death penalty as well as life without parole. Now, this happened down in Florida, and Tay-K's case happened in Texas, 2 Republican red states that love guns and are extremely racist. So you could only imagine the amount of desire they have to hold a person of color accountable. I hate to even mention this, but Nicholas Cruz, the delinquent who shot up Stoneman Douglas High School in Florida, killed 70 people, and he didn't get the death penalty.
Location is Stoneman Douglas in Parkland, Florida. It's going to be a big event. And when you see me on the news, you'll all know who I am. You're all going to die.
Meanwhile, Melly, who allegedly killed 2 people, the state of Florida is fighting the hardest to make sure the death penalty is still on the table. I bring up YNW Melly and the Parkland shooting in comparison to Tay-K's situation to show that when you're a minority, they already don't care about you, and they will go 10 times harder when they have the power to remove your freedom and take you off this earth. Tay-K even is starting to notice this and brought up how his white co-defendants didn't get penalized as hard as him. One of my defendants was a white girl who was 16, just like me. They didn't certify her as an adult, but they certified me and Pimp as adults. Pimp got 30, I got 55, and she ended up getting 10 years probation without no deal. That girl at home right now. This is the maturity and comprehension that comes with age, because a 16-year-old Tay-K wasn't acknowledging the disadvantages he faces in the eyes of the law. If this was Tay-K's first run with the law, they would have been less strict. But you have a 16-year-old child who was released on house arrest after being accomplice to multiple murders, and they threw the book at him to make an example of him. This is the other side, other throwing awards you get from doing crime that nobody talks about. Tay-K is part of a group called the Santana Boys, with him, Pimpy, Santana, and they're all serving hefty sentences. He's serving 55, Pimp serving 30, and Santana, who shot and killed a girl after getting in a drunk argument for a drive-by, he got 44 years. This just paints a picture that people of color in troubled environments have a higher percentage of going to jail and being penalized at a high rate. Tay-K said he was raised by two gangbangers out of wedlock, and he feels he isn't the same person 6 or 7 years ago, that he's ready to make the change. Does Tay-K deserve a second chance at adulthood? Was he over-sentenced with 55 years, or does he simply face the correct consequences for his actions? The YNW Melly trial has been delayed for a whole year due to the jury selection, the death penalty being brought up, then dropped and brought up again, and YNW Melly has made his cry for help. Now, for those of you who don't know, this is one of the highest profile double homicide cases in hip-hop throughout the last 5 years, with many people acknowledging that if Melly is convicted